So let's go ahead and jump down the rabbit hole, I guess. And we are back. This is People Wonder on the All the Mods 9 mod pack. And thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed that little intro. I definitely had a ton of fun making it. But yeah, you can see I have put a ton of work into this setup. It is far more complex than when we had originally started. I took about every ounce of space I had in order to make this. I didn't want it really spilling out into other chunks, but as you can see, this pipe right here, it kind of does. But that's okay, because that's just one pipe. And yeah, I can't help but find the humor in some of the things I had said in some of my previous episodes. As you can see, it's actually not that hard, in my opinion. The fusion reactor setup and the ore duplication setup is much more complex. But yeah, this setup is obviously way more complicated and way more expensive than the fission reactor is. And I should have known, I should have assumed, and I mean, I did. But yeah, when I had that dinky little setup just sitting in this corner right here, I really thought that was going to work, and I find that humorous. So anyways, yeah, I already built everything. So as you can see, we sustainably have DT fuel. My reactor shut off. I think that has something to do with the fact that I stopped the game and I'm playing now. But I am actually net positive in DT fuel as long as it's daytime and this reactor is running. And I'm not terribly worried about running this reactor right now since my induction casing is full with 6.5 trillion forge energy, which is just ridiculous. But once we build the SPS, we will have to make sure that the fusion reactor is running at the same time as the supercritical phase shifter. We're going to worry about that next episode. I just want to touch on a couple of the requirements for this setup that I have here. So as I mentioned before, I needed 6 full-size thermal evaporation plants. So that's 18 tall there, and you can leave out the corner blocks for the advanced solar generators. I'd even say you should for heat purposes. And 5 of these, so these 5 are making brine, and those 5 are putting their brine into this thermal evaporation plant, which is then making liquid lithium, which gets ported out into these rotary condensators. I started out with 2 of them, and with 2 of them, you were break even with the amount of gaseous lithium you're putting out. But I didn't just want to be break even, I actually wanted to be a little bit ahead, because at nighttime you were not producing tritium, so I wanted to make sure that I'm building up a nice little backlog and not just break even. So I have 3 rotary condensators. Every step of the process has a buffer. This chemical tank here is both input and output. However, as you can see, all of the gaseous lithium is getting used up immediately and put into this buffer or into the pipes as a buffer. That buffer is a little unnecessary, but I do like buffering every step of the process, especially since at this stage of the game, ultimate chemical tanks are pretty cheap for me. And then on the other end here, I've got, so again, I thought I would need, maybe a couple of extra pumps, I think I said in my previous video, or 2 or 3. But I had this whole row of pumps here producing heavy water and getting separated in the electrolytic separator. The problem was I was net negative in my deuterium production. So basically what that means is I did not have enough pumps. So I had a few more over here. And then I kind of freaked out because I didn't have really any more room for pumps. So I decided to get rid of the staircase and push this part back a little bit and add these pumps. So I already counted up all of the pumps, and I have a total of 45 electric pumps, all fully upgraded with 8 speed and 8 energy and a filter upgrade. So yeah, it's just ridiculous costs. Of course, 1 chemical infuser was not enough to handle the demands of what I was asking it to do. And 2 chemical fusers fully upgraded is more than enough. It can actually get ahead of, it can make more than 1,000 millibuckets of DT fuel every tick. So that's my basic setup, but yeah, I calculated it. I actually have a total of, 1,254 thermal evaporation blocks. I used a total of 18 of these thermal evaporation valves and 6 controllers, 1 for each generator. Both of these resistive heaters here are set at 8K, so 2 resistive heaters set at 8K, which is another reason I'm really glad I have these dinky little solar panels over here. Kind of help offset the cost of running this monster. Yeah, and as you can see, I'm using the cooking for blockheads sinks to just pull an infinite amount of water out of. But if you think that's cheating, or you don't have access to these sinks in your mod pack, whatever you may be playing, yeah, you're going to need to replace those with electric pumps, which is obviously going to greatly add to the cost of this setup. So, yeah, I just wanted to, tune back in with you guys and let you know that this is what the setup ended up having to be. We're producing more than enough DT fuel. I'll show you eventually that we produce more DT fuel than we use when this fusion reactor is actually running, but we do not need this fusion reactor running right now since our battery is full. So yeah, it has been A monster in resource cost. And some people actually go as far as to add steam turbines, max size steam turbines. Like I don't even know. I've heard people on the internet say you need like 18 or 20 of them, max size steam turbines, to water cool this guy and get extra energy out of it. But I don't think that's something I am terribly worried about at this point. Honestly, I would, if I needed any extra energy, I would just create a second fusion reactor, probably over here, and pump the excess DT fuel into that. But the supercritical phase shifter, we will not be running full time. So I'm not terribly worried about the energy demands at this point. This fusion reactor filled that induction casing up super quickly. So yeah, we're definitely going to be upgrading the induction casing. I'm going to probably end up putting on some mecha armor just because I think this armor looks kind of wonky, especially with the night vision goggles. And again, I'm so far in the game, there's so much to do. I'm not terribly worried about being overpowered at this point. But anyways, I just wanted to apologize if I misled anybody in my previous video with my DT fuel setup. This is a little more accurate DT fuel setup if you are looking to recreate it on your own. And yeah, thanks for watching and stay blessed.